I wonder if we go back to the visibility of the layoffs and the perception of the layoffs, is part of it, do you think, the fact that social media has created so much visibility for us, so much? I mean, this isn't the first time there have been mass layoffs, right? Like in the
Mhm.
past, there are, huge companies that you show up for work and thousands of people are getting pink slips in their cubbies and going home that day and not having jobs. I know in 28, it was it 2008 or
Mhm.
there was a recession and there was layoffs. Is it this is the largest scale of recent knowledge? Is it that it's so visible? Is it that it's in this space that seemed like untouchable, where there's just been so much demand and so much money? Like, what do you think about,
Mhm.
what's happening right now that's making it so like in everybody's face right
Mhm.
now?
Yeah, it's interesting, Brent. That's a really, really good call out. I think, yes, the evolution of employees and former employees feeling emboldened, if you will, to express their frustration, their angst, their concerns on social media is probably higher than it's ever been. We just
Yeah.
more comfortable, and there's more tools, and there's more comfort in using those tools. I also think that the pandemic, in a way, served to question so many things about work we never questioned before. Like, why
Right.
are we going in an office? Like, really, why? And why do we have to meet in person? Like, why can't we meet, remotely? What's the purpose of a 5-hour work, 5-day, work week? Like, where did that come from? Does that really make sense? And so we've been questioning that because we've hit a moment in time where we hit pause on the life we were leading, and we had a chance to step back and get some perspective. And I think that's really, really healthy. So amongst that moment in time, this happens, and we've not been in a cycle in probably a decade or so where we've had this amount, right? Layoffs have always happened, but just really boom, really quick. And I think that's sort of, people's comfort to call out companies like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on, right now? And then while all this is going on, we see all the stuff going on at Twitter that's getting a lot of attention from people on how Elon Musk is, driving decisions that seem counter to all the best, research around culture and leadership and trust, and
Yeah.
trying to build an environment where people do the best work. And so, yeah, it's really, I think there's a lot of factors, and the other thing that I have to say around this is, yes, the technology companies, that industry seems to be doing it more, and it's, I think, in part is because most companies know how hard it is to recruit, so they're always going to be recruiting, even if there's not an
Hmm.
imminent need right now. And maybe that's come back to bite them a little bit. That that strategy of trying to find the scarce engineer, um, was a really good idea in a better market, and now that's not a better market. Uh-oh, maybe that strategy doesn't fit, so we're going to have to revisit it. You know, that's partially it. I think there's another thing, Brent, which we haven't talked about. We didn't even talk about it in our sort of, side conversations prior to going on air, and that is, in technology industries, and again, I'm part of, I have a front row seat to this, and created part of the problem myself, or was part of the problem. And that is, many companies, aside from the huge enterprise, so take the Googles and the Amazons and Apples out of the picture, and you take a company a size of, say 50 to 500, which is the majority of most of the organizations, so small, medium business. Most of those organizations are not expecting to be around in 100 years.
Right.
They're not. They're expecting to build and get bought or merge, or, have an exit, and then people are going to leave and go on to do another adventure. So the outcome of that doesn't create an environment where people are really building better leadership and thoughtful leadership and thinking around, what's our talent strategy and how can we build a good culture, and we need to build good rapport with the employees for the long term. They're not thinking like that. And they haven't been trained that way, because they're thinking 5 to 10 years exit, I'm moving on to something different, a
Right.
new adventure. And so we've got a leadership deficit, which reveals itself when we see some really just really disappointing behavior and how these things are conducted, how they're communicated. People finding out in the middle of a call with a customer when their system gets like taken down.
Right.
That's how they found out. Or some people find out on the news, or some companies announce we will be laying off 10% of the workforce in the next month. Why would you ever do that? Because you just basically guaranteed productivity is ended. So just story after story, I stopped being freaked out about this because it's happened so many times. Like I'm getting sort of immune to it right now.